What's going on, Trollomaniacs? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about the bucket list. That's right, bucket with a B. Things that you want to do before you die, and this is gaming related. I had this about 2 years ago when I first started the channel, and I have beaten some of those games, and I want to revisit it and talk about 10 games that I've been meaning to play but I haven't gotten around to it. So with that, let me know in the comments below what your bucket list games are. Without further ado, let's check out my 10 games I need to play before I kick the bucket. So first things first, since these games are my bucket list games, I'm having to use World of Long Plays and a few other resources to get some gameplay footage because I don't want to play a game for 10 minutes just to get footage for you guys. I want to actually experience these games. And the other funny thing about this, I love when you walk through game stores and you're talking to people and you're like, I really want to play this game. And they look at you like, what? You've never played that game before? And you're like, I mean, I have a gaming channel, I've played a lot of games, but there's a lot of games out there that I haven't played. But they just look at you like, I just can't even believe you have a YouTube channel. It's amazing how you even make it. You've never played the greatest game of all time. So anyway, I'm sure I'm going to get a little bit of that. Just want to give you guys a heads up. There is some bangers on here for sure that I've not played. So let's just get it right out of the way. The very first game, these are in no particular order, is going to be Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Yes, I know, one of the greatest games ever made. And I love Zelda. I've played quite a few titles. I've played The Wind Waker a little bit. I've beaten Majora's Mask. I've beaten Link's Awakening, but I've never played Ocarina of Time. And it's been a game on my bucket list for a long time. And it's just one of those that's just been hard to get back to. With so many games coming out all of the time and new systems, this list is only going to grow longer and longer and longer. These are just my top 10. I mean, I have about 40 games on this list that I want to play. But anyway, you cannot go wrong playing a Zelda game in general, but Ocarina of Time is one that I do believe everybody needs to play, and I've heard it's the best game of all time in many people's collections. So for me, I need to play Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I've got it sitting on the shelf. Like, it's right there. There it is, staring right at it, right next to Majora's Mask. Got the game, no excuse not to play it, other than I'm out of time. Just running out of time. All right, moving on to another game that is obviously a banger, and that is the HalfLife franchise. Now, I want to play HalfLife 2, but I've heard HalfLife 1 is amazing as well. So I'm going to bunch these up into just a HalfLife game. I know these games are amazing. I've seen Captain Algebra play this on stream, and I thought, dang, this still looks good. I believe it came out on the PC, came out on the Xbox, PS2. I have on the Xbox Half-Life 2, and on the PS2 I have Half-Life 1. Again, most of these games in this list are in my collection. It's just a matter of, okay, let's sit down and play these games. So Half-Life, I know they're amazing. I know they get good reviews. I do love the first-person shooters, and there's some other elements within these games that make them some of the best, but I've not had a chance to experience them. So Half-Life, good game. Probably time to check this bad boy out. All right, moving on. Another game that has been flying a little bit under the radar, I feel like, and is getting a re-release soon, and that is Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. Now, they're making a new version called Re-Reckoning, which is an updated visuals, HD, probably some new content coming out here this month, actually. But I just last month, before the announcement, bought the PS3 version of this game, planning on playing it. I just haven't. Now, this is an RPG that has a ton of mystical elements. It's that action RPG style game where you can throw spells, you can cast things, you can do quests, you can beat people to death with your sword, whatever you want to do. It gives you a ton of options, and it got really good reviews, and it was kind of a hidden gem. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, it actually put the company that made it out of business, but this was a really good game that is considered a major hidden gem among fans of this genre. So for me, I do plan on playing the new HD remaster, even though I bought the old one, because I might as well play it in the best quality, the best graphics I can if I'm going to be playing it. So Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning or Re-Reckoning, that is a bucket list game for me. I typically don't like to put two games from one franchise on a top 10 or top 5 list, but I just can't help it because this game is one that I've been talking about for dozen years, for 10, a decade I've been saying I'm going to play this game this year. And that's Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. Again, another game where you go, how can you be a gamer if you haven't played Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past? Well, damn homie, I don't know. I got lots of games to play, and there's a lot of great games that I haven't played, and this is just one of them. So I figured, what the heck, might as well play Link to the Past. I have no excuse. I have a copy of the game. I have the emulator. I have the Nintendo Switch Online service so I can play it. I mean, I could play this anywhere, and I have no reason not to. But I'm gonna do it. I think. I plan on it. We'll see how it goes. But considered an all-time great, it's another RPG, top-down style, kind of the old school Zelda before we got to the 3D realm, that's considered one of the best games on the Super Nintendo, one of the best games ever, and many fans' favorite game of all time. So this is one that I really need to put some time into, just haven't done it yet. Alright, moving on to a game that I've had for a long time, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to play it, not because I don't want to, just because I'm not sure I need to make it a priority at this point. And then my buddy Wes at Gaming Off the Grid is like, dude, that's my favorite game of all time, possibly. And that's Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I have it on PS2. I have an HD remaster, I think, for the Xbox One, or is it 360? I don't know, it's in there in the corner. But I have the game on multiple platforms. I just need to play it. And with that, I didn't realize this was an all-time great. I don't know how I missed this game when it first came out. I played the second one, I played the first one, loved them both. But then I thought, this looks like a little bit more old school, maybe I'm not gonna like it. Apparently it's fantastic. I love the action stealth games. It just changes up the gameplay so much when you're used to like action games or RPG games to get into something like Metal Gear Solid that can be fast-paced, but then it can be really, really tactical. It can be a lot more strategic. So I love those games. So I think this is one of those games that I'm gonna pick up actually sooner than later. I'm definitely gonna play this one in the next few months and get through it. I know it's not a huge game, so it's not gonna require a ton of time, but I really wanna play it, and the more I talk about it, the more excited I get. Going back to another series that I don't even care which game I play in this, it's just one that I want to play because another game just got announced, and many people consider this one of the best franchises exclusive to the Xbox, and that is Fable. Now, I'm thinking I want to play the original Fable, but then I heard Fable 3, but then I heard maybe you want to go and play the new Fable 4 when it comes out. I don't know. I don't even care. I just want to experience one of the games in the franchise to say that I'm familiar with Fable, that I've played it. Now, maybe the initial Peter Molyneux promises did not come to fruition, but that doesn't mean this game didn't get good reviews, it wasn't well liked, and it hasn't aged particularly badly. I've heard it's still really fun, plus I know you can play it on the new system, so why not? Fable is a franchise that I want to play. Maybe in the comments below, let me know which Fable game should I play first. Should I play the first one? Do they really connect that well? Again, since I haven't played these games, I'm not all that familiar with the storyline and whether they're all connected or if they're all separate universes, so let me know, what Fable game should I play if I'm going to play one? Should I play them in order? But the problem with that, I haven't played any of them, so maybe I just need to pick one and get through it and say I played Fable. So let me know. Next up is a game that I honestly might be the most embarrassed about. Not because it's anything super special, although it's considered an amazing game, but because I love this franchise. I've played most of the games, or many of the mainline titles, and that's Resident Evil 4. Yeah, I know. I literally have the chainsaw controller right there. Right here. I have the chainsaw controller for it. I'm all into Resident Evil. I've played 1. I've beaten 2. I've beaten 3, I think. I've beaten Code Veronica. I've beaten 5. I've beaten 7. I mean, I literally have played a ton of Resident Evil titles, and somehow I've skipped arguably the very best game in the franchise. Cuckoo. Legit don't know what's going on. I need to play it. I do know that at one time I played it for like 2 minutes just messing around, and the controls were a little bit wonky on the PS4. I had it on PS4, I have it on PS4, and I was like, ooh, this is kind of rough. But I think it's one of those games where if I actually play it, you're just going to get used to the controls and get through it. Now, I also heard the Wii version might be the best way to play it. So let me know again, Wii version, or should I play the modern updated visuals of the PS4, because I do have both options available. And again, I know this game is amazing, so Resident Evil fans out there, I might be a poser, but I'm just doing what I can around here. Moving on to another franchise that I played a few of the games, love them, played them early on, didn't really play a whole lot recently, and that is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Now, the Prince of Persia series was one that I got into on the Super Nintendo. I loved the dungeon, side-scrolling, avoiding traps, pulling out your saber and fighting people. I mean, it was an epic game on the Super Nintendo. It really was. If you just want to see how epic it was, just look up like the end game kind of monologue or the end game video, and you'll just see like some of the cool stuff you went through. They did a great job with that game. And then I played a PS3 version called Prince of Persia, which was really unique to the PS3 and I believe the Xbox 360 at the time. It was different. It wasn't really part of the mainline franchise, even though it was called Prince of Persia. It's kind of similar, but it was way different, way more colorful, Wind Waker style graphics. But the Sands of Time is considered probably one of the best Prince of Persia games, and then it had multiple sequels off of that, but I know Sands of Time is kind of considered the one to play. So this is a game, again, that I just haven't played. I love Prince of Persia, and like many things, sometimes the plumber is the one with the leaky faucet. And right now, the YouTube gamer is the one that's missing out on a few gaming titles. So I understand these are all great, but I'm gonna get to them one way or another, unless that bucket gets kicked over a little sooner than later, which I'm not hoping for. Boom. Moving on to another game that has gotten amazing reviews, and I can play this one quickly because that's What Remains of Edith Finch. Now this is one of those where it's just game of the year, amazing, outstanding, must play. It's a story-driven kind of narrative style game where you're just going through, I believe, memories. You're learning about your family, your past, your history. Again, I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that whenever I bring up the name Edith Finch, people that have played it look at me and they're like, "You've got to play What Remains of Edith Finch." And I'm like, all right. I know it's not terribly long. It's like a sit down like through a movie, a few hours, and get through it. So I need to get into this game. I've really wanted to play it. I have it on my PS4. I have it on my Xbox One. I just need to sit down, get through it, and knock that out of the bucket list so I can replace it with something else. All right, that is 9. The last, the final, and definitely not the least important, just another game on the list is Tomb Raider. Now, I am familiar with Tomb Raider, but I have honestly never played a single Tomb Raider game. But you can bet your sweet ass I'm not going back to the PS1 Tomb Raider. Those freaking pine cones of polygons are not going to do it for me. So I am going to play Tomb Raider on the PS4 or the Xbox One. That's what I'm gonna do. Now I have it on the PS4. I have the first one, the second one. I think I'm missing the third, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I love Uncharted. I know they're kind of similar. I love Uncharted. I played all 4 games. I need to play Tomb Raider. These all got great game reviews. They all have positive feedback. Most people that played the original love the remasters, the updated ones. Not really remakes, they're just kind of like a retelling of the story, I guess. But I need to get me some Lara Croft in my life. So any of the games in the franchise would be great, but I think I'm gonna play the first one, and if I absolutely love it, I'll move on to the next game and play through them. All right, gamers, there you go. 10 games / maybe franchises that I need to play. I know, it's hard admitting to some of these games. These are all-time greats, but let me tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Just because I play a lot of games, just because I have a lot of games, doesn't mean I can play every single game. So I want to know what your bucket list games are. I want to have a few of my YouTube buddies tell me what their bucket list games are. You can make a video if you like, or just leave it in the comments below. But I definitely want to know if you want to make a video like Robert and Wes. I know you guys well. I don't think I've ever asked you at Gaming Off the Grid, what are your bucket list games that you've never played that you really want to spend time with? Tom and Lacey at Do You Nerd. What do you got? Captain Algebra? Megadan? What are some bucket list games? You guys do a lot of retro games, but are there any that you want to play that you haven't had a chance to? You know, Chronic Spartan, I always love hearing from you. Just a few of my YouTube buddies. Just let me know what your bucket list games are. And let me know if this list right here is deserving of playing. Are there any games on the list you don't like? That'd be pretty fun to hear as well. As always, hit that like button, hit that little subscribe thing down there so you can see the old trollster every Friday. And like always, keep trolling, keep rolling. We'll see you next time.